Welcome to this video on the full moon in Leo happening on February 1st. This is a really big astrological event, and it's one of the bigger events that I'll be talking about um, for the weeks of astrology that I discussed. Note that coming up in 2 weeks is the hybrid, meaning that it is an eclipse that is happening in signs that the North Node and South Node are not currently moving through. A hybrid solar eclipse in Aquarius, which is a new moon in Aquarius. I should first say new moon before solar eclipse if it's a hybrid eclipse. Because it took me the longest time to believe and agree with the whole hybrid eclipse thing, so my past self would not like me saying what I just said. But I will not be doing a video on that because there is yet another big significant event happening later this month, and that is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries, which is monumental. It is incredibly profound, incredibly groundbreaking because it is um it is an event that only happens once in every some 100 years. Um and so this conjunction is happening at 0 degrees of Aries. I'll talk about that more when we get there. It's gonna be huge. But anyway, delving into this video. Let's first get the math out of the way. This full moon in Leo happens when the sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Leo. The sun and moon are always opposite during a full moon. Um, and so this full moon is happening when the sun and moon are opposing each other at 13 degrees and 4 minutes of the sun being in Aquarius, the moon being in Leo. This full moon is exact at 4:09 p.m. Central Time, 5:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can adjust for your time zone. Depending upon your time zone, you may not live on these time zones, so you may need to adjust if you live on Mountain Daylight Time, Pacific Time, UK time. Then it might be different for you. So, this full moon, Aquarius and Leo, the very first thing that I want to establish is the moon being in Leo. Leo is about the self, being who you are, standing in your power, being courageously who you are unapologetically, shining your light out into the world, being a beacon for others. Leo also deals with generosity, giving yourself, and especially your heart, because Leo rules the heart to others. And so examine your identity. Very important to look at your identity during this full moon. Now, I should preface this by saying that full moons are culminations. They are closures of things, things coming to an end. Things reach their climax with the full moon. So the emotions really ramp up. The energy ramps up. You're feeling more emotions. You may feel more emotional, or you may react more to things during a full moon. That might be, very am huge with this. You may be more impulsive during full moons. You may feel like a lot of emotions are within you, and you might feel the need to let it out. And Leo is all about being yourself, and so this full moon is saying, let this out. Let all these emotions out. Do not keep it bottled in. Don't keep it constipated in your system. But choose to express it and let it out. This full moon really talks a lot about liberating yourself from old identities. What are the old identities that you have carried? What are the old versions of yourself, stories of yourself, that you have carried and that you have moved along, on your pathway? And so now is the time to release those old stories, those old narratives that you have about yourself. What is not empowering and true for you, what doesn't empower you, bring you to power, and what is not true for you will fall away. So allow that to fall away, allow that to be released from your life. The patterns that keep us small need to be released, that keep us in a comfort zone, living a very, very small life. These things need to be let go of in some way, shape, or form. This may also be about looking outside of ourselves for authority, not relying on our own intuition, our own soul calling, our own inner compass, but relying on the external, the government figures, the authority figures in our lives, the adults in our lives to tell us what to do, how to act, you know, color within the lines. Um, don't put one foot out of line. It's these kind of things that limit us from being who we truly are. Where have you fit in to belong and abandon who you are in the hopes of doing that? So where have you fit into a particular group, clan, team? And in the process of doing that, you've compromised your own identity to merge with the group and live a life according to their values, their interests, and their ways of living. The clothes you wear, the food you eat, the music you listen to, the work that you do, all these kind of things like that, where you've compromised um, your own identity in order to fit in with this group. Now, Leo is about being creative, and however you can be creative at this time, please do that. However you define creativity for yourself, know that you are worthy. If you've been having low self-worth, then that needs to be released. You are enough as you are. You don't need to, fix yourself, or, um, you know, change who you are. You are enough just as you are. You don't need to improve or, anything like that at this time, but you are enough. Leo is about expression, creative expression. Fire signs are about transformation. Scorpio is about transformation, and Scorpio is the fire water sign because of its fiery qualities. And a contributing factor to that is that Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, was the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and it still rules Scorpio today, was the original ruler of Scorpio. But so fire signs deal with transformation, transforming yourself into the fullest expression of who you are. Now Leo energy can give you a boost to your ego. Leo is about the ego, the part of you, the small self, um, the part of you that is very rational, logical, that cares what other people think, that's about me versus them instead of me, and them kind of thing. Um, and Leo is about creative self-expression. Aquarius is group connection, teamwork, but Aquarius is also detachment. Leo can get so enmeshed and involved in the emotions of things. That's what um Leo can get involved in is all those feelings, all those emotions. And it can get so wrapped up in that. Whereas Aquarius is detached. View this from a more objective perspective and act from that place. Act from that objective place of I'm observing this, I'm not being caught in it, I'm looking down at it from afar, from a vantage point, looking at it, and from them seeing it holistically, seeing it fully, seeing it without attachment, and then making decisions and taking action. So, Leo is about romance also. Aquarius is about friendship. Think of friends as a casual relationship. You can let your hair down around friends. You can have fun. You can relax around friends. You can be free to do things, play games, go places, do all those things with friends. Aquarius represents relationships. It's a lot of freedom in relationships. It's a lot of fun and novelty, where you can be yourself around others. You can be open to them being their unique selves. Um, Aquarius also has to do with um, exchanging ideas with others. I mean, there's so many different things. Aquarius is friendship. I could go into all the details, but I'm not going to right now. So, um, Leo is the personal, Aquarius is the impersonal. Leo is about being courageously an individual, whereas Aquarius is being part of a team more so than being an individual. So you can see the conflict here. We can be rooted in our inner knowing with this energy. It is very, very important not to wait to be seen or validated. That is huge. That's a really, really big theme here. Is to just go at something without needing validation, without needing permission from others. Going at something fully in that way. something to evaluate at this time is where do you filter yourself and hold yourself back? Where do you um limit yourself in this way? Where do you need to step into your own sovereignty, your own individuality? So you'll be most um one little math detail I forgot to leave out at the beginning of this video is if you have planets and points, planets or if you have any placements between 11 to 15 degrees of the signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius. Placements include planets, points, and angles. You will be most affected by this full moon. There is an emphasis on your feelings during this time. And a couple last little reminders. Don't dim to fit in. Don't dim your life. Don't play it small and safe to fit in with others. Don't seek external approval from the crowd. Be who you are and express your radiance and brilliance out into the world. Express your heart out into the world. Live from your heart. What does your heart want? Do what your heart wants without a schedule, without having a sense of logic to it. Do whatever you feel you want to do in the moment with what your heart is calling you to do. Follow your heart. Um, and don't ignore your creative urges, which could also come from the heart. So if you feel a creative urge to dance or to paint or to do sculpture or to draw, then follow that creative urge and go in that direction. Courageously do what brings you joy. What lights you up, what brings you joy. This is the time to go in that direction and live from your heart. Love from your heart. Also loving from your heart. Showing your love to others. Having a because Leah is very warm and loving. Express that love in really big ways to others. Now, the aspects for this full moon include, first of all, Mercury, the planet of communication and how you receive information, how you learn information, how you collect data in your environment, how you get stimulated from your environment, and Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty and relationship, how you relate to others, how you mingle with others in whatever setting you find most um, familiar to you based on your Venus sign. So, this transit, adding to this full moon, is great for Leo because it's good for dating, sharing romance with others. Communication at this time can be more harmonious, more loving communication towards others, more kind communication, softer communication, possibly communication that is more um, refined. You may be more in touch with what you love about someone. Um, that may be a very, very huge aspect of this, as you're more in touch with the characteristics and qualities of them that you really value about that person. You can express this to others. This is a good time for showing that you care and love someone through either a gift or an act of kindness, or through the spoken and written word, through writing a love letter or a poem or a song or a story for them that they might enjoy, um, or a message to them. It could be as simple as that. Um, you know, or speaking how you love from that person in those ways, can be very, very good at this time. And maybe on the other end of the spectrum, if you're receiving this back, you could get more love from others in these types of ways. Maybe an invitation, maybe a gift from another. This transit encourages cooperation. People coming together, people working together, people getting along and finding ways to work together in a diplomatic, peaceful kind of way. It's good for negotiating, and it's also great for resolving conflicts, resolving any disagreement or battle, because you're more compassionate, you're more um, uh, impartial. And there's a word that you're a great mediator for others. I think that's the word that I was looking for, where you can, be the peaceful person in the room, resolving conflicts, finding, others to draw the olive branch, others to come together, make amends, um, do all these kind of things like that. So, this could be also about having a lot of artistic or creative skills. You could find that all these things, and I'm not going to list them off because I've done that in the past. Creative things such as, I'm not going to list them off because you can think of creative and artistic things right here and right now. But to list some examples, at this time you may be very interested in art, music, and beauty in all forms. You may feel the need to express your love for others through spoken, as I've said before. It's good for receiving your budget and financial plans. You may feel more social and outgoing at this time. That may be a possibility with this. Um, that is definitely really, really huge. So you're feeling um just just more, as I've said, um just more willing to put yourself out there. You desire to be around others who stimulate your mind, who are, meet you on the intellectual level. It's good for finding and or coming up with win-win solutions in business, finding solutions to problems, coming up with solutions to problems. Another very small aspect going on is Mars sextile Blackman Lilith. Mars is our red planet of action and war and bravery and courage. It's the brave hero going into battle kind of thing. Lilith is the part of you that is untamed, the part of you that is uninhibited, unfiltered, the most natural part of who you are that goes beyond social refinement. So, and social conditioning, I should say. So, Mars sextile Lilith deals with expressing your inner and outer desires in personal relationships. So that's very important. Asserting your desires with independence and ambition. So acting on these qualities, it is a blending between courage and authenticity. Courage Mars, authenticity Lilith, being genuinely yourself. People could really delve deep into really form a deep, more profound connection with you, meaningful connection, as opposed to knowing you at a surface level. Really knowing you for who you really are, and knowing others for who they really are also. So, that is all I have to say on this full moon in Leo happening on February 1st. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you found this video beneficial, and if you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss future uploads. Hitting the notification bell can also help with that. Share this video whom to those who would find this interesting to watch. And I will see you in the next video, which will be on Jupiter, the planet of, I'm not going to talk about it here. Jupiter in the Jupiter series in the sign of Gemini. So I'm going to talk about that in the next video. Bye for now.